Hey!
What's up, guys?
Welcome. Happy Sunday.
It is Sunday, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Isn't it just? So usually we do separate vlogs on Sundays.
But we've reconciled our differences.
Also, we were hanging out anyways.
We're getting the band back together.
So, yeah, we decided to vlog together today in a group chat.
I'm Jeff.
I'm JD.
He's JD.
Jazzy. Jeff.
And welcome to
Snappy J.
Welcome to Jeff and JD. Have something to say.
Nice.
Thanks. On the spot. Today we were recording Resident Evil 4, which
Yes.
I mean, if you like our Let's Plays, if you're one of 20 people who like our Let's Plays,
You should totally watch it.
No, good stuff's coming up.
Yeah.
Maybe. So
Especially
if you watched last Friday, we're in the middle of a boss battle, and it's like super hard against what's his name, Sadler.
Oh crap! What's his name?
Starts with an S.
It's not Sadler.
Samsonite.
Sadler is the big guy. Salazar is the midget.
Sadler then was who we were fighting.
No, Sadler is the big, like the head honcho. That's not Sadler.
Okay.
He's the guy that we met
Oh,
in the church when we got Ashley. I think.
wasn't that him?
No,
Wasn't
he
that
talked
Sadler?
like this.
Man, Resident Evil has one of the ridiculous storylines.
Yeah, but we were playing that, and I just thought to myself and to Jeff out loud, just how there's certain game elements that kind of transcend like all games. That just kind of you figure something out, and you kind of gamify the system. You know, where you take something
And it sort of becomes instinctual in future
yeah,
games.
exactly.
I mean, TV Tropes probably has listed everything that we're going to talk about here in this short segment.
Oh, absolutely.
But there are certain ones that just struck us as particularly set in stone.
Yeah,
maybe just
universal.
funny things to think about.
So interesting things like in Resident Evil, more specifically, when you go up a ladder, you're invincible, and you just know
Because
that.
it's an animation that you can't control.
Exactly.
And I mean, obviously, there are some animations you also can't control, which you're vulnerable during, like reloading and things.
Right.
But for some reason, if you can't control the going up and down of ladders, you tend to be invincible during them. And then you start to gamify it and be like, okay, I can stand here and get a couple more shots off.
Yes, like, okay.
Because then I'll be able to immediately grab this ladder and become invincible while I run away.
You know the timing, so it's like I can take some shots, I can reload, and then I can go up the ladder, and he can swing at me, and I'll be fine. You know,
It's just sort of funny how long-term gamers start to just game
the
wink
system.
the system,
Yeah.
like even more than the developers even probably intended.
Yeah, I imagine they don't really think about that stuff so much. Like they don't.
Well, because games aren't perfect simulations, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
And as gamers, we want to win generally rather than actually have a realistic simulation.
So we use what works, and so we find these little nuances.
Loopholes.
Loopholes is a good word for it. And so you know what works and what doesn't work.
Like if you've ever been playing a platformer, and it's the kind where, you get staggered and bounced back when you get hit.
Yeah.
And you purposefully get hit in a specific way, so you make it over a hard-to-get-over pit or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Just like try to muscle your way through. So
Well, yeah, but you get hit on purpose so that you make an extra long jump.
Castlevania,
I think I did that a couple times in
Castlevania is a good point, like a good... That always, I've seen... I haven't played a lot of Castlevania.
It's funny because Castlevania sort of has that weird, slow, kind of difficult to control thing that Resident Evil has going on, too.
It's true.
Those kind of control systems tend to have those weird little gotchas that you can use for your advantage.
Yeah.
Well, and Castlevania is famous for it, because you can use it to clip through walls and stuff.
For how many that are against you
ridiculous.
in games like that, because of, that knockback is ridiculous. Like, it's...
and in Ninja Gaiden...
I've heard.
Like the platformers.
I've heard tales.
I have no idea how the new ones are, but the original Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
Whew. So many.
I should play that sometime. I've heard it's...
You can get it on Virtual Console.
Hard.
I hope they re-release it on Wii U Virtual Console, though. Because now I don't want to buy anything for my Wii Virtual Console.
Yeah, well, you don't really want to do that now, because you can't transfer them over at all.
That's what I'm saying.
once you transfer it.
Especially since I've already transferred, yeah. Anyway, so things like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting...
Like, the fact that healing yourself when you're only like halfway dead is less efficient than healing yourself when you're more dead.
That's a good one.
Like it's something funny that I've never really encountered any sort of system that punishes you for that.
There's certain games, like
where there
that.
are disadvantages for having less health.
Right. So it's like, oh, well, I have half health now, but if I wait until I get hit again so that I can use my health because I know that this fully heals me, I need to wait.
Right.
And so
Resident Evil is particularly
we were just
like
playing
that.
it. We were just playing it, so all of our examples come from that. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's interesting. And what else? Mop. I don't know.
It's funny how games make you do that, I guess, is really our big point. The fact that they are separated from reality so much, it turns every part of them into sort of a game and a gamble.
Right. Finding new ways that shouldn't work. I mean, obviously it's a way that wasn't really intended.
Yeah.
But you use because it works.
And we do that in real life, too. Like
Sure enough.
like with speed limits, people find silly little ways to game it and to get around the system with fighting tickets, for example. And
Right, yeah.
Things that the laws put in place were not meant to turn into a game and a challenge, and there are loopholes around it that laws don't intend for people to take advantage of, but they're there.
Yeah, I think the point is that we want to win, and so if we can find any way for us to make that easier for us, or to alleviate the difficulty of the end goal, like reducing the price of a ticket or beating a game, whatever it may be,
it's just sort of human nature, and it's funny how many game developers don't think, the players will break this in any way.
And I'm sure that that's something that's on their minds. Like, okay, how is the player going to be able to break this?
And that's part of what QA is all about.
The problem is that you can't know what they're going to do because there's so many gamers out there.
And so many people think differently.
Yeah, you just don't know what their mindset's going to be while they're playing.
Like, I mean, getting back to the use health later rather than earlier example, which tends to be a hard rule.
Yeah.
You ever watch with someone who just doesn't understand that concept? You ever play with someone like that?
I don't know. Oh, that would bug me.
Right? But I mean, it's like that. Like, some people just don't think about specific mechanics the same way that other people do. Which is how
It's true, yeah.
Which is how developers manage to miss these things and why QA is so important.
It's funny though that because we're seasoned gamers, we've been playing for a long time,
Like 20 years.
and we just kind of take these things for granted. We know it's like, okay, we understand the system, but we can recognize these little games within the game. Just kind of without even thinking about it.
The little economics games and the little
exactly.
knapsack problems.
Yeah, exactly. And little things like, especially with Resident Evil, things like you pick up an item that you think, oh, well, I need to hold on to this because what if I need it later? Like with the beer stein, what we've been having problems with. That we actually missed. But,
spoiler for 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. It's interesting, just little things like that, and people that have just started playing games.
And some people don't even think of that.
Yeah.
It's funny how it just sort of gets built in after encountering certain problems so many times. Like, for instance, if you absolutely know you have to go down a specific path, then there's a reason the other path exists.
Yeah.
And so you go and explore it.
Right, exactly. You see, oh, hey, there's a branching path here. I need to not go down this path first.
That's sort of the conservation of detail, unless it's like an open world game, where it's just trying to emulate the real world, which does have dead ends that have no purpose.
Right.
It's, why would a developer make something that has no purpose at all?
Yeah, that's
if
interesting.
It's a guided experience.
Like a game like Skyrim, there will be areas that might not be useful.
Absolutely serve no purpose.
But like a game like Resident Evil, where it's more linear.
Well, like totally linear.
You know that there's a reason this path is here. If I go down this path, I know that I will find something there, basically.
Exactly.
And it's cool.
Even if it's just enemies.
Or an enemy, yeah. Exactly. It's like,
there's always a reason.
You go behind there and there's somebody with a scythe trying to kill you. Or you go behind there and there's a barrel, but maybe there's a snake in it. Just something goofy like that.
It's funny how games sort of turn into this unspoken dialogue between the developer and the player. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
what did the developer intend to happen here? Okay, well, they intended me to run away from the guy with the giant vine scythe arms.
Yeah.
And
But what if I do this instead?
Yeah. If they didn't intend for me to just dodge slightly to the left,
Yeah.
I'll dodge it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it'll work because, you know, they can't account for everything
True enough.
if they're trying to make it realistic.
Right.
Anyway, that was what we were pondering today on this bright, sunny Sunday. Unusual for Portland.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day.
It was kind of nice. Went for a walk. It was lovely
It was lovely.
and muddy.
Anyway, so
That was just a fun
what
little
are some
topic.
things that you've noticed are kind of hardline rules that virtually every single game follows? That going into a game, if you have that knowledge, you will probably be better prepared than other players.
Do you think that this may be a disadvantage for like seasoned gamers? Maybe it's something that kind of
Or if it's a
That
negative
hurt us.
aspect of games,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
this tends to happen.
if it hurts us as gamers that we kind of game the system and don't play it as intended necessarily.
That's true.
You know, maybe it's better to be like a new gamer where you don't really understand like.
Baby,
And I think
a
that
newborn.
I mean, you know, back in the day when we first started, and I played Ocarina of Time for the first time, and you don't
There
understand.
were a lot of tropes you weren't familiar
Yeah,
with.
you don't understand it all, so you just kind of play it, and it's like, oh, it's all so new and everything, and there's something to be said, you know, for
Like the
new-
idea that maybe the keys, you know, there's the exact right number of keys and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
the temples.
You just don't know.
You wouldn't know.
You don't.
You take it for
just
granted.
Kind of happens
So what stuff you take for granted as a gamer? Let us know in the comments
below.
right down there. And also, have a beautiful week.
Have a slamming day.
Come on and slam. And
Welcome.
welcome to the jam. All right. Press end to end.
And